Welcome back to This Week in High School Sports. We're hanging out in Mountlake Terrace today at our show sponsor, Red Onion Burgers, and with us the owner, Sean Richards. Sean, people think of Red Onion Burgers and they think obviously burgers, it's in the name, shakes, fries, other things, but you're so much more than that.
We are. We offer barbecue ribs, our world famous red Cobb salad. Ooh. With turkey and ham.
Healthy options, I like it.
Healthy options, and we also offer paninis, fresh fruit, and smoothies, and so much more, so come on by.
21005 44th Avenue, Mountlake Terrace.
We're back with This Week in High School Sports, and Steve, it is sunny outside, it's daylight savings time, and it's time for spring sports.
It is. I could have done with an extra hour of sleep before the show, but nonetheless, we're happy that the weather has turned. We're happy that spring sports have arrived, and it was Jamboree weekend for softball, baseball, and a few other sports teams, one of which was the Edmonds-Woodway Warriors baseball team. They're going to get their season rolling after a very successful campaign in 2017, a year in which they went to the state semifinals, and we thought we'd talk with them and a few guys who knew a thing or two about playing at Safeco Field last year in the state semifinals. We're going to bring the coach and two of his players in to talk Edmonds-Woodway Warrior baseball. Here are Dan, Jacob, and Julian. High school baseball season is upon us. Jamboree taking place over the weekend. Games starting this upcoming week. And with us right now, three of the members from the Edmonds-Woodway Warriors baseball team. Three guys who all spent some time at Safeco Field last year to end their season. With us, senior baseball players Julian Kodama from I guess the shortstop position. We've got Jacob Kitchen, who is the left fielder, and then the head coach, the guy who makes it all happen, right? Dan Somoza. Guys, thanks for joining us, and I guess we should start off by talking about last year. We usually like to look ahead, but when you make it to the state semifinals, Dan, kind of hard not to talk about it. What was that experience like for you guys?
It was an amazing experience. The fun part is seeing a team together to, we had goals at the beginning of the year, and then the little steps they take to do it. And they did all those steps, win districts, go to regionals. We had an epic game, probably the best game I've ever been a part of as a coach or a player, to make it to the Final Four, and then get to Safeco and have that opportunity, and just didn't bounce our way at Safeco, but, to get there and have that opportunity in the first place, just an amazing experience and something these kids will never forget, or I will never forget, too.
I can imagine. And Jacob, what is it like when you first take that step out onto the field there and you look around? And I guess you guys took a tour of the building the day before, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Kind of just walking out of the tunnel into the dugouts and seeing the field, like the huge screen and everything. It's just amazing. Like, it's every little kid's dream to go play in a pro ball field.
And Julian, when you took your first step out onto the shortstop position, did you have that moment where it was like, oh, this is bigger than anything I've ever done before?
Yeah, it was insane. It was the best field, like infield, I've ever played on. It was better than turf. There was no bad hops, and it was just a dream come true to play where like the greats have played.
And Dan, what about for you? Were you guys in the home dugout, the road dugout? Where were you?
We were in the third base dugout, so we were not in the Mariners side. So. But we didn't care.
Yeah. You'll take whatever at that point.
We were just excited to be there, and be a part of that.
Was there a favorite Safeco Field moment in the entire time? I know, unfortunately, that you lost both games, so you took fourth place. Yeah. Not too shabby. Was there that one particular moment that you'll always kind of take with you from that experience? Any of you guys?
I mean, I hit a triple in the second game, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, hitting a triple at Safeco, never a bad thing.
Yeah, just getting 2 hits. I was just hitting on Safeco. That was just a dream come true.
Experience of a lifetime.
Yeah. And then for me, it was seeing all the ex-Warrior baseball players come out, friends, family, alumni, current students. Everyone was there to cheer everybody on. It was just a positive atmosphere, and it was just a lot of fun to see that many people. Because usually not as many people come to baseball games as like a football game, and it was just fun to see the community just be there with us. So I really enjoyed that part of it.
And unfortunately, they won't be making it back this year, and that has nothing to do with their abilities. The tournament is moving over to the east side of the state.
Yeah.
So, but nonetheless, they are going to try to make it back to the semis. But first, you got a whole season to play. And Coach, I've got to think when you get a team to the semifinals, even though it's a new team every year, you have so many players returning from last year. It's got to be a huge confidence builder coming into this year, right?
Yeah. When you have, part of high school, everyone's going to leave every year. That's just how it goes. But when you have young kids that have learned from the old ones, about how to act, how to go the process each day. And these kids are just picking it up right where we left off and starting a new year, which is exciting because each year is different. And each year has its own story, and these guys are leading this story for this year, and I'm excited about it.
And Julian, you mentioned it to me before we rolled the cameras. You said that getting a little bit of a taste of that success, it makes you want to work harder, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it hurt last year, just making it safe going, just not taking it all, but we got it. We know what it feels like to be like one of the best teams and what it feels like to play on the big stage, and we all want to go back this year.
Indeed. Good news, bad news for you guys from last season. Good news is you only had, 4 seniors on the entire team?
Yeah.
Bad news is that we're pretty good. You lost some key guys. Jacob, when you start to kind of look at the roster and know that so many guys have varsity experience, I've got to think that's a positive for you and gives you guys confidence too.
Yeah, definitely. We have a very solid group of guys returning. I mean, of course, like Brandon, Nick, and those guys, they're really big for our program last year. But overall, we have a good amount of experience going forward into the season.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the personnel right now, and I'll start off by having you two, the players here, talk about each other and tell me what each brings to the table. Julian, tell me about Jacob Kitchen, the left fielder, and what he brings to the Warriors.
Well, last year, I'm not even gonna lie, we all thought he was just gonna be a fill-in player, honestly. But like, he's one of the hardest working kids on our team. That's why he's the captain now. Because last year he got the chance to start and he took it and he just worked hard from then on out, and that's what he brings to the team. He's a leader and he just helps the team that way.
Nice. And then Jacob, what about Julian?
I mean, Julian is one of the most dynamic players on the team. Like, there is no one else that kind of rivals his love for baseball, and he brings that intensity to every single practice and every single game, and that's an invaluable asset to the team because when it's crunch time, we kind of need a guy to rally around, and Julian's the man.
So, Coach, how did those two guys just do in describing one another? Did we leave anything out that you want to add about these guys?
Their personalities, like they're a little bit different, each one of them. Julian doesn't stop talking, a lot of energy, he's a lot of always moving, doing stuff, and then Jacob's a little more laid back, but when he has something to say, everybody listens. Mm-hmm. So, and he works hard, and people can see that. And so the two of them really push everybody, and I love it. So, and it's fun to see how the two of them, different types of people and different likes and things they do. But when they get on the ball field, it's fun to watch.
Very good. And then as far as your teammates are concerned, and Jacob, maybe I'll start with you. Who's out in the outfield with you? Who are you out there with in the?
Yeah, so this year we got a couple new guys. So we have Ian Michael and Chad Curtis returning, and we also have Carson Scherenberg. But we also have Julio Marinas, and he's so fast. This kid is the fastest person I've ever seen. So we kind of have a little bit of competition for center field going right now. And, of course, Carson, Chad, they're always solid. So we got deeper this year, outfield talent overall. And, Coach,
competition, but good enough to where we might see all these guys play quite a bit? Is that the plan?
Yeah, everyone will get a chance to play, and then, then it goes from there. So always competing all the time. So we compete every practice, every single minute, all the time. So and they got to compete with each other, but still learn how to be teammates, and that's what makes it fun.
A nice challenge to have, too, I might add.
Oh, for sure.
And, Julian, as far as the infield, who are you playing with?
We have, a returning third baseman right now, Gunnar Whitelaw. I know he's probably going to start there. He works so hard, and I love it. He has a cannon, and I'm pretty sure he's going to stay there. But we have competition at second right now. And right now we have a returning first baseman, Ty, and Ryan, but we also have Thomas coming in, so that's also going to be up for grabs, so you never know. But I think we're good this year. We have depth, and I love it.
How are we looking at catcher?
Catcher, we have 2 brand new catchers. So Nico, who didn't play last year, and he's a senior this year, and he came back, and he's going to catch for us. And then Robley Corsi, the third, I believe. He is also going to be our catcher. So those two are going to get equal amount of playing time here at the beginning of the year, and we'll see how it plays out. So,
and of course,
excited about it.
Pitching can take a team a long way, and did last year for you guys.
Yes.
We already mentioned you lost a couple of big guns there, and Brandon and Nick. What's the pitching staff looking like right now?
So the pitching staff, we have Julian right here. He'll probably be our number 1, and then we have Thomas Playhouse, Ian Michael. Pitched really good for us last year, too. But we have a ton of other pitchers. We have Tommy, Gunner. We have just a bunch of guys. Ty, Carson. We got a lot of pitchers actually.
Everyone pitches,
And Logan and some other guys too, and Robley could pitches. So we got a lot of pitchers. So trying to find innings for all these guys is going to be tough. So, but it's the fun part of my job that I like.
What do you guys think of Coach here, by the way? Can I put you on the spot here right in front of him? How do you like playing for Coach?
I mean, like, I think Coach has made me a much better baseball player. As Julian was saying, you know, I was riding the bench last year, and then there was one moment where, you know, 1 out, bases loaded, pop fly to the infield. I ran and, you know, got thrown out in a stupid double play. And Coach kind of sat me down, and gave me a talk, and kind of really changed my outlook on baseball. So, I mean, like, Somoza is by far like one of the best coaches, just in terms of mentality and kind of getting his players to give everything they have and reaching their potential. So I really appreciate that about him.
And Coach, I think he more than made up for it after that out, right, during the course of the rest of the season.
For sure.
And Dan, tell me a little bit about some of the coaches on your staff right now. Who do we have on the bench?
We have Stephen Booyer, who's our pitching coach, who brings awesome energy. He's dynamic, a lot of fun. And he knows his pitching stuff, and you know, he gets us, as he says, fired up. That's what he's always saying. So he gets the guys going. So we have a lot of differences. We have Larry Meinecker, who's our infield coach, third base coach, and he's been around forever. And Larry just has endless energy, and it's just fun to see. And he has passion for the kids, which makes it awesome. And then Will Budnick also helps out with everything with our team too. So, you know, our varsity staff, I think, is the best staff in the state. So that's just my opinion, and I'm lucky to have those guys. They make me look good.
Indeed. It's worked so far. Hey, a lot of guys on this team played on that Little League World Series team a few years back, the Pacific Little League team that went to Williamsport. What's it been like to work with them in terms of, I've got to think that anytime you're coming up and playing varsity baseball, there's a lot of pressure on you. I think you've got, 5 guys on your team right now that have played in the Little League World Series? Do you notice the mindset from coaching those guys that maybe the mentality is a little different in the sense that they've got that experience and they've already been on TV and played in front of a few million people on TV?
I think what they really bring is, because Robley was their coach, Robley Corsi, and he's now our JV coach, is they are just amazing teammates and just good human beings. I mean, that's the one thing I've really noticed. Like, they know how to be a team and what it takes for a team to win, and obviously they were winning at age 12. And so they bring that attitude into our program of positivity, of believing that they can get to certain places. And once you experience something and you taste it, you want some more of it. And you know what it takes to get there. And so those guys have had that experience, and definitely they push one another and they push our teammates, and it's just fun to see. Plus, it's Edmonds, it's local, I'm still proud of them. Like, it's pretty an awesome thing.
So now, and I was going to say too, the fact that you mentioned they get a taste of it. You guys got a taste of Safeco, the younger guys, a taste of Williamsport. Everybody's hungry for to get more success, which obviously is a good thing to have moving forward. As far as the weekend was concerned, you had your jamboree. Feeling pretty good about the way things went. I know it's early on in the year, so you never want to get too high or too low, but Jacob, a couple nice victories for you guys. That had to feel pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall it was a pretty good showing for our team. You know, we were able to rotate some guys in and out, especially at pitching, and we're looking pretty good this year. So I'm excited.
Julian, what's the goal for you when you go into a jamboree? Obviously, it's early in the year, so you don't want to overdo it too much either. You're playing kind of conservatively, or are you just trying to play not to get hurt? What are you trying to get out of a jamboree?
Well, for every game, even practice, what coach taught us is like we go hard. Like we play. It's like our last game. But more than anything, for the jamboree, especially for the new kids who are on varsity, I always tell them, because like you can tell they're really nervous. So I tell them to relax, just have fun. It's baseball. You know? Just especially for that. That's just to get the nerves out.
And we're actually going to turn on the scoreboard and to make it count this week. It's a non-conference game, but it's your first game. Wednesday, you're over at Bellevue College playing Bellevue. Dan, you know a thing or two about Bellevue College?
Oh, yeah. I played there and I coached there, so super excited to go back there. Coach Yoshino does an amazing job with that field. And, you know, we try to step up and go to big places and get guys used to playing at really nice fields and stadiums. And, you know, I think that's a big thing. So we're excited. You know, we've been practicing a lot, banging on each other, so we're excited to beat up on someone else. So
you get that one game this week, and then next week you move into the rest of the season. Lake Stevens and Jackson are your first 2 games, your other non-conference games. two teams that have done fairly well over the last few years. Lake Stevens, you guys won the 3A district championship last year. They won the 4A.
Yeah.
Coach, was that by design? Did you intend to put tough teams on your schedule?
We always try to play with the toughest teams around, and Jackson and Lake Stevens are always really good. Coach Snake does a great job, and Coach Josh White over at Lake Stevens, I actually coached him, so I enjoy playing guys that I've coached. And then they're both top 4A programs, and we like to test ourselves against the best teams around because I think that's what makes you better.
And then we look ahead into the schedule, and we're doing that thing again this year where we went away from, I guess 2 years ago, you played everybody in Wesco 3A 3 times, so you had a 3-game series all in 1 week. And now we're still doing the schedule where you play each team twice, Tuesday and Wednesday, and then on Friday you play one of the teams up north. Do you guys like that schedule? Do you like having more variety and seeing more teams, or would you rather see the Meadowdales and the Mountlake Terraces and the Linwoods 3 times over the course of a week?
Personally, I would want to see Meadowdale 3 times, but other than that,
I think he knows a few of the guys on the Mavericks.
Yeah. No, but really, there's no preference for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just baseball, especially just like to go out and just have fun and hopefully just keep going for the whole year.
Sure. Jacob, do you like to see variety on teams? Do you want to play different teams throughout the year, or do you like those 3-game series?
Yeah, I mean, we all want to play Meadowdale 3 times so we can sweep them, even more. But, I think just for postseason, it's really good to see more teams. So when we play against the Snohomishes and all those West Coast North teams, it's not a shock and kind of know what to expect. That helped us last year, too.
Coach, after this interview, do you want to see Meadowdale 3 times, or you?
One game at a time.
Absolutely. And you kind of like the variety, right? You'd rather see more teams.
I love the variety. I like seeing different players. I like seeing different teams, how they play. I think it's a lot of fun. 3 teams in a week is a lot, so it just makes it a good time to go to different fields. And we got to travel to Oak Harbor last year and do bus trips, which is team bonding in my opinion, which we wouldn't do that around here. So
how is Wesco looking this year? Is it going to be a tough conference? Is there a lot of parity? What are we expecting?
I think Wesco is always a tough conference, but this year we've had a lot of teams graduate, a lot of seniors, especially pitching. So there's a ton of pitching left. I think it's really up for grabs more than I've ever seen any year before, where you should sort of predict. So it's going to be interesting. Shorewood, Linwood, Meadowdale, Terrace, Shorecrest was a lot better last year. We got some new guys. I'm confident in us, but it's going to be wide open, so it's going to be exciting. So there's no dominant pitcher who's just going to shove it every single time. So
see what happens. And then as far as you two are concerned, you're playing for Edmonds-Woodway now, but you're both seniors, so it's time to start thinking about the future. Julian, I understand that game at Bellevue next Wednesday, or this coming Wednesday, might be your future field anyway. Tell me a little bit about your plans to go to Bellevue next year.
That was an easy decision. My coach went to Bellevue and he told me all about it. He loved it, and the coaching staff, I love them all. So it was pretty easy to go there, and I'm excited to play at Bellevue to see all the coaching staff there.
Is it fun for you as a coach to see your players heading off to your...
Yeah, I'm proud of both these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they've worked hard at things they want in life, and guess what? Hard work and vision and belief, and they've accomplished that. So that's what I'm most proud of them, going to college. Not just baseball, but whatever they do and pursue in life, both will be successful. So and definitely going to Bellevue, I think is pretty cool. So
yeah, and the gentleman to your left there, he's going a little further away for college.
Yeah.
Jacob, where are you heading up to next year?
I'm going to Duke next year, so I'm pretty excited about that. Cameron crazies, all that type of stuff.
You're excited for the whole experience. Why Duke? I mean, Duke's one of the premier schools, obviously, in the nation. It's were there other schools you were looking at on the East Coast, or where were you looking?
Yeah, I was definitely looking at the East Coast. I've lived in Washington for 10 years, and I kind of wanted to move away. I don't know, just try to spread my wings. But Duke in particular, it had a very good mix of kind of student life and academics at the same time. And, I got pretty lucky getting in, so I'm excited.
And what are you going to study when you're there?
Right now I'm thinking of econ with a concentration in finance and kind of going down the Wall Street route. But, it'll all change. I don't have to declare my major until sophomore year.
So he's a smart kid then, Coach. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, highly intelligent.
Yeah. So just
And
to
he's
get
a
into
great kid too.
very nice. Just to get into Duke, no easy task. So
No.
Durham, North Carolina, look out! Here comes Jacob. So hey guys, until then, look out! Here comes the Edmonds-Woodway baseball team.
Yeah.
Should be a fun season. Continued success for you guys, and looking forward to following the Warriors all season long.
Yeah, we appreciate everything you do for high school sports and getting us out there, and we're very thankful for that. And it makes it exciting to watch other teams and stuff too. So
Our pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Well, we appreciate you guys making a nice run into the playoffs last year, and we're hoping you guys can do it again. So
It will.
definitely.
Thank you.
It's always interesting to hear the continuing influence that Little League World Series team has on our local programs.
Absolutely, and I'm sure you were much like me when that was happening a few years ago. I was already starting to think, we're going to see these guys coming up through the Edmonds School District pretty soon, and lo and behold, here they come. I think Meadowdale has a few of those players too, so without a doubt, we'll be hearing a few of those names in the future, and Edmonds-Woodway still loaded with talent and ready to potentially make another run this year.
That's right. Okay, and we've got another baseball program represented.
We do, also from the Edmonds School District. Head coach Andrew Waters from Mountlake Terrace, heading into his 19th year at the helm. He's got his Hawks ready to go. They also had a jamboree over the weekend, so we thought we'd bring Coach in to talk about his team and the prospects of the Hawks in 2018. Here's the interview we did with Andrew. We continue with our preview of high school baseball teams in the Edmonds School District with the Mountlake Terrace Hawks. And joining us right now, the head coach for the 19th year, Andrew Waters. Coach, 19 years, where does the time go? Do you still enjoy this time of year? Do you still get excited every time March rolls around?
Yeah, and especially this year, first 2 weeks having great weather, and so we're ready to go.
It's not always a guarantee, is it, around here?
No, last year was a rough year for everybody, but
Well, and what is that time like? Because we so often see it in the Pacific Northwest. Baseball season comes around. Not only is it raining out, but it's also cold out. Does it change the way in which you hold practices early in the season?
we are fortunate that we have the turf field at Mountlake Terrace, and so that's a nice advantage. And so, we have advantages in how we can do things outside when other teams can't because it's muddy. But, when it's cold, just try to keep things moving at practice. We don't want things to get stagnant, but it's tough. But it's something we deal with every year, and you just got to kind of watch the arms and make sure everyone's staying healthy. But it's been a good start this year, so it's been good.
So we're getting ready to go. Last year's team, 12-12 on the year. Kind of a good news, bad news, and we had a similar conversation with Edmonds-Woodway. Good news is that you only lost 4 seniors. Bad news, they were a pretty good group of seniors at that.
Yeah, they were good. But I'm excited about the guys we have this year. I think that we have a lot of returners and a lot of guys that are ready to fill the gaps. And we have a committee of guys that are just ready to go. So I think we're going to be just fine.
And you got a nice preview of those guys over the weekend, or I guess it was Friday, your opening jamboree, which you hosted over at your place. Tell me a little bit about the jamboree itself, who all played, and how did it go?
We did a 3-team jamboree with Linwood and Meadowdale, and it went well. I think the day went quickly, and I think all 3 teams played some defense and threw strikes and got a few runs here and there. So at the end of Friday, I felt really good about my group, and I think the other coaches did too. And it's kind of a sign of things to come for our league. I think everybody's going to be fairly competitive, and so it was good. So first time out there, get some jitters out of the way, and it's an opportunity to do some things and check some things out as a coach without any game pressure. So it went really well. So.
Does 3 innings seem like a good number for you in terms of how are you able to get everybody in at that point and get them the playing time that you'd like to see them have?
The fact that you do 2 games and play a total of 6 innings, by the end of the 6 innings, everybody gets at least 1 look at the plate and a little bit of time out on defense. So, but yeah, we still got some non-league games to go and a lot to look at and a lot of practice ahead of us. So there's a lot of things that'll change before we get to the end, I'm sure.
So let's look at this team a little bit. We'll start off by talking about your pitchers. I know you had a pretty darn good one in Jared Maxfield last year, who's since graduated. Who can we see out on the mound this year for the Hawks?
We have a real committee of guys. Obviously Jared was our go-to guy last year, and he's doing well at Bellevue. And I expect Kendall Yackley to have a good year, and Tanner Bowe started a lot of games for us last year. Jesse James Martineau is back as a junior, and he's eager to get out there and go. And Matthew Johnson's going to be good. Early season, I've been really impressed with Josh Ernst, and Dylan Gordon pitched a great inning of relief in the Jamboree, and then we rounded out, and we have Brett Sears, who's a junior, and so I think those 7 guys are going to all be contributors to the overall product, getting 3 games in a week, and whether starting or relief, I think they're all going to
you're going to rely on all of them at some point.
They're going to throw strikes, and our defense is going to play well behind them.
Sure. And who are we looking at in the infield this year?
We got returners there. So, Matthew Johnson is back at third base, and Kendall Yackley's back at shortstop, and Jonathan Kumai's back at second. And I've been really impressed. Lane Zushin is a junior that has played 2 years of JV in our program. That's going to fill in a lot of gaps for us. And Max Coleman's kind of a utility guy that can play a little bit for us. So we got all those guys have some experience, and they're back and ready to go. So. And
we certainly don't want to forget the outfield. Who are we looking at out in the grass there?
Tyson Kim, Tanner Bowe, Max Coleman, Andrew Younglove. Those guys are all 4 of those I just mentioned are seniors. And Tyson Kim, at the second half of last year, really came on and was one of our real tough outs in our lineup going into the playoffs last year. And so I'm excited for those guys. Brett Sears is also an outfielder, and I'm probably forgetting somebody. But, we got a small roster, but we got a lot of guys that are contributors to the whole thing. And I should mention, along with the pitchers, is we got Dan Bingaman back.
We're definitely going to get to Dan, yeah.
Catching behind home plate, and he's motivated this year, and I can see that he's put in a lot of hard work to be ready for this year. So I'm excited for Dan as well.
Got a lot of PT as a sophomore last year and did a nice job when he was in there.
Dan was a junior. He's actually
a junior.
A senior.
That's right. He is a senior now.
He's
Okay, losing track of my years. Yeah.
So, yeah,
he's the third-year player then for you.
He's a third-year letterman, and so he's, and he's gotten better and better and better, and he's made significant improvement each year that he's been in it. And third year with our program, I think he knows what we want back there, and he's developed a good relationship with all the pitchers, and it'll be good to watch him put it all together this year.
Indeed. And then we don't want to forget your coaches either. Who do we have working the bench with you?
Kyle McGuire's back as an assistant on varsity, a former player, and we brought back David Reynolds, who was our junior varsity coach 2 years ago, and he's back helping varsity as a pitching coach. And then our junior varsity coach, Jacob Sells, another former Mountlake Terrace player, and he's in his second year doing our junior varsity program, and he's doing a great job getting these guys ready.
Speaking of assistant coaches and former players, Linwood has a new coach this year. I don't know if you heard about that. Tell me a little bit about Andrew Knutson, who's over at Linwood now. Who you're going to be going up against this year.
Linwood is lucky. They got it. They got a good guy in there, and Andrew is a former player, and he came back when he was finishing up college, and he came back and spent a few years as an assistant coach back at Mountlake Terrace. And meanwhile, he got in as a PE teacher at Linwood High School, and he had the opportunity to get that head coaching job at Linwood this year. And he's going to be great. He's going to be great for the league. He's going to be great at Linwood, and he just really knows the game. He's one of the more intelligent guys I've ever been around baseball-wise, and Linwood's going to be tough for years to come.
I feel like there's a camaraderie between the Edmonds School District coaches too, with also Bill Hummel and Dan Somoza, and now Andrew over there as well. Is it kind of nice to know when you're stepping out there against these guys that they're more than just colleagues? You're able to have conversations with them and have a good rapport.
Yeah, and throughout throughout Wesco, really. There's some turnover when you look out and about Wesco. In fact, this year at the coaches meeting, you start seeing some of the youth coming in and coaching, but that's great. And we're all, in the end, we're all here for the same reason. We all want to see success out of our league and success with the players that play in our league. And with our local teams in Edmonds School District, our kids all play together in the summer, and it's a friendly, competitive situation. You're competing against your friends, and as coaches, we all know that, and so it makes those games special. That's what the neighborhood rivalry is all about, and it's always been like that. So we get excited for those games. They get excited for those games, and it brings out the best of both teams usually. We
had a chance to talk to Dan Somoza, the Edmonds-Woodway coach, earlier on the show. Asked him about Wesco 3A this year, and he said it's a very competitive, wide-open league this year. Also talked to the Meadowdale players last week, and they had a similar answer. Yeah. Do you feel the same way? Is it a league that you think is going to be exciting to watch?
We don't get a day off.
Yeah.
I think that our schedule is just every day we have a chance to win, and they have a chance to win, and there's nothing easy about it, and that's what makes it great. I think the season comes down to who plays well at the end and who's going to make the run in the tournament and that type of thing. I think there's a lot of turnover in some players in our league, and it'll be interesting to see who steps up in our league and shows that whether it's individuals or a certain team, and it's wide open.
Yeah, and we should mention you have a home game, we hope, on Tuesday of this week. Yeah. Again, it's baseball, so weather permitting. If only we could move that game up one day, Coach. Monday's supposed to be so nice out, but you can't really do that. So hopefully Tuesday against Mariner, and then you're not home again until Friday the 23rd. Always fun to get those home games in. And once the season's all said and done, if you have enough wins, you move on to districts. We should also note last year, Mountlake Terrace for the first time playing at the 2A classification level. So you branch away from the other 3A teams once the season ends to play in that district tournament. First year doing that last year, what was that like?
It's a great tournament. It was a unique experience for me in my 18th year last year and 19th now. As far as a district tournament goes, I've never had an experience like that. It's such a great setting up in Anacortes at I can't remember the name of the ballpark right now. Daniels Park and Volunteer Field, I think, or something like that.
I'd help you, but I don't know either.
But two fields next to each other, beautiful setting. You got two tournament games going on simultaneously, and there's an excitement up there for the district tournament, and beautiful park. And for us, when we hop up on a bus and we get to travel up there, it gives it a distinct feeling, similar in my experiences to going to state. Really, it feels a lot like that. And boy, the competition was really good up there. And so it's a tournament that traditionally produces teams that go into the Final Four of state. Anacortes did last year, and I think that we got a little taste of it last year. And right now, I think it's a motivating factor for our guys coming into this year, as we want to earn our way back to Anacortes and get back there and see if we can take another step this year and see if we can earn a spot into the state tournament. That would be wonderful.
Indeed. Interesting take, too, by the way, because so many times you hear people complaining that, well, now that Mountlake Terrace is a 2A school, they have to travel so much further for district action when they get into the playoffs. But as you mentioned, for the students, it's an opportunity to feel like they're going somewhere where they haven't been yet. So it's kind of a nice experience for them.
Yeah. So I understand that part of it too, because it's not an advantage to travel to be the team that's furthest away, but it made the experience for me. I look back at it and it made the experience really special. So and we definitely want to be back there. So it kind of. It fires me up anyways. We want to get back there.
Hey, over the weekend, you and I were a part of the gala that was raising money for Mountlake Terrace High School's sports boosters as well as other programs at the school. And I guess we should mention too. They raised over $61,000 this year. Some of that money does go to the baseball program, and money that was received last year, you seem to have put to some use already. I wasn't going to say completely, but you decorated the outfield a little bit over the weekend. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we did. Well, first of all, what a great event last night. And last year was too, and the people that are doing the work with our boosters it's incredible, and it's making such a huge difference to all of our programs, and it's great going to that event last night and seeing specifically our baseball parents so involved and making such huge contributions to the whole thing, and we've been baseball's been a big benefactor of all of that, and one thing amongst many things that we did do is Kelly Yackley and Mark Yackley helped organize getting banners to put up, championship banners that we put up around our outfield fence, recognizing teams that have made it to the state tournament and recognizing our league championships and our district championships. And for me as a coach, it's something that when the Booster Club started, I actually brought it up years ago, and I've kind of mentioned it for several years that it's something I'd like to do. For me, you're an alumni as well, and the history of our school and our program means a lot to me, and it's something I wanted to get started so that it can continue for years to come. And so to see that happen, and we spent Saturday morning before practice putting those up, and it just brings a little extra pride to the field and to the students that get to play out there, to feel that tradition and to realize that they're a part of it now. And so it was great, and that's just phase one of our decorating of the field, and in a few weeks we're going to tarp up center field a little bit for a batter's eye that's going to be, I think, even make it look even nicer. So
stay tuned for that.
Yeah, that's a couple weeks away. We're waiting for materials, but that's just one example of the impact the boosters are having on all of our programs. It's a source of pride for us to be able to do something like that, and it's something we weren't able to do on our own before the auction started and before we really started bringing in really good money that we can put to use, and it puts us in nice uniforms and makes sure we have all the supplies we need, and it's really such a great thing. And that event last night was just fantastic, and there was a great tribute to your mom, and also again, I had the pleasure of sitting next to the Joneses, and what great people they are for the contributions they make to the whole thing as well, with the painting and the quilt that they donated and brought in a lot of money. It was really cool. So, and it's unbelievable actually to see the support that our community's giving our athletic department at Mountlake Terrace.
Yeah,
so
certainly those are events that go on through other schools as well, and I think people forget sometimes how vital it is to have baseball programs and other sports and activities for that matter, and how much is not funded by the district and by the state, and those extra dollars are needed, and certainly events like that do help with that.
And we're funded better than we have been in my whole coaching career right now through that event and through the efforts of our boosters, so it's really incredible.
And the last thing I wanted to mention from that event last night, I think one of the highlights of the evening was a video that was put together to show all the parents and other folks that were at the event just how necessary it is to raise money. And it was a fun video put together by Andrew's baseball team, showcasing some of your students and their acting abilities as baseball players trying to hit baseballs with golf clubs, showing that they need equipment, and shooting baskets at a basketball hoop with golf balls and things along those lines. So not only can your guys play a little baseball, they can act, and they seem to be an outgoing, fun bunch.
They have true comedic talent.
We're hoping that it's not a comedy of errors on the field, though, because you don't want to see that once the game starts. And we'll get to that soon enough. Again, another fun year coming up, an exciting year, it sounds like, nonetheless. A year in which I think the league is wide open. So best of luck to you and the guys, and hopefully we'll see a Hawks team returning up to Anacortes again for districts.
Hopefully so.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
Well, next week we should have a full wrap-up of more spring sports, right?
Yeah, the seasons are all getting ready to get underway, and hopefully by then we'll be ready to hand out a few more T-shirts too.
Yeah, player of the game.
Action Jackson Plumbing, player of the week. We'll have boys and girls shirts hopefully every single week. So a lot going on, and we are ready to roll.
That's right. And the weather, well, we don't know. There's some sun this week. There's some rain. And once again, the sports will either get those games in or they won't.
Some sun, some rain. It sounds like March.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. But we will see you next week. And thanks, as always, for joining us. We appreciate it.